Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 11th, 2023, at approximately 4:23 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I personally guide my own life by. Now, I've shared these techniques and these thought lines with literally thousands of other clients with varying degrees of success depending solely on their own personal efforts. Now, before I get into anything today, let's go with the starting point where Philip is in with the gold, and Shadow and Sun are in with the silver. And Shadow and Sun, bearing in mind you are here, we have this is the link to Shadow and Sun's live stream. So absolutely drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, come right out, give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of the thing, because it's through this interactive sharing that we are going to change the path the world is on. Now, I cannot do this on my own. I can only change my own world. But when we take into consideration the concept of 6 degrees of separation, with your guys' assistance, we can absolutely affect necessary change. Now, Donna Spencer, you are in with the bronze. And Joe Stewart, well done. You are in with honorable mention. Then right behind you, Joe, comes in Emmy Tonga. Yep, comes Emmy Tonga. So, today we're looking at the fundamentals of economic and personal change in your life. But I'm not interested in doing this way down the road. This is not a question of, oh, we can change your life, or more to the point, we can offer you the tools. You can change your own life. Okay, but stick around till the end of the show, and I'll give you one little tidbit that's not worth the air it takes to make it. So we start with the obvious. Now I'm going to steal I'm going to steal. I'm going to quote a line that was uttered in Iron Man 3. Okay, so we start off by literally changing the way you're looking at the world. But we start off by pulling the clean slate protocol. Okay. Borrow works like a good word there, Philip, although I don't intend on returning it. So this being said, when I talk about clean slate, you've all done things in the past, both good and bad. But the clean slate protocol, mentally speaking, boils down to this. Thus far, starting right this moment, you haven't made any decisions, good or bad, except maybe to stay logged in. Obviously, if you clock out right now, we are talking about you making the decision to clock out, and that is by all means you're right. Now let's start with the obvious issue. If you do like the stream, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of the thing, because this whole idea of exponential spreading of information boils down to, if you tell two people and they tell two people, and so on and so on and so on. Some of you remember that commercial. But it's time we start making this happen. Now, I saw a post on Facebook today that said, if aliens were to show up here and had to pick one person to represent humanity, who would it be? And I may have a little bit of it off, but okay, there was Elon Musk, there was Bill Gates, there was David Zuckerberg, and I think the other guy was from Vision. I appreciate that there, Philip. I really do. And what do we got here? Jack, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, so I mean, I saw this post, and there were varying people. There were a lot of different names pointed out, but one in particular caught my attention. Why, pray tell, do we have and would they pick somebody that is saying so far up the economic chain they cannot even comprehend what the common person goes through? You know, from my standpoint, it really boils down to this. I'm much more interested in talking to the people that are on the ground that know where they're standing, that know what we're going through. Now, I can tell you, I'm running right tight to the wire. I do apologize for yesterday, guys. I had to go downtown in Kelowna here. Now, Kelowna is not big, but I don't deal with crowds. I certainly don't deal with clinic feeling things at all. So I got a friend of mine to help me go downtown to go and pick up my to go pay and get my passport renewed. Real weird concept there. Am I looking to fly to the other end of another country? And I get panicky in my own downtown. Okay, but was down there for 3 hours waiting to do 5 minutes of work, then came home. So, when I came home, I got down there about 20 to 11, got home about 3 o'clock. By 3:30, I was passed out and didn't even come to until 7, which needless to say means yesterday got written off. But how do we change the fundamentals of economics? Okay, one of the things we have to look at is what is causing the problem. Now, I'm going to give you 4 words, and I will be covering these in the newsletter. Okay. Oh, that's cute. Philip goes, the United Nations has someone for if aliens show up. I don't remember the title though. Now I gotta ask you, never mind the title, but the guy that they've got lined up to deal with aliens, does he even claim to have ever borne witness to a UFO, or better yet, had direct contact with an offworlder, or for that matter, an ancient race? Okay. I mean, if you're putting somebody in to act as liaison, it may be an idea to have them somewhat connected. And that feels really weird. And I left that open anyway. So since that feels really weird, we're gonna go back here. There. Now I'm better. Yeah, in all fairness, Philip, that was really kind of rhetorical. I wasn't actually expecting you to know the answer. I'm laying odds that she hasn't. But, there's this thing about, oh, we gotta deny they exist. There's a good idea. You know, but the first thing there's 4 words like for life to change, for us to shift things. 4 words to consider. Okay, and these seem to be 4 of the major blocks as far as turning society around, as far as people stopping society from spinning out of control. Well, there you go, Philip. Well, I mean, just think. You could have Yoko Ono singing in your ears. Just a thought. But what I've looked at, like I've told people, first thing we have to do if you desire your life to change, do the clean slate protocol. Whatever you have done in the past, doesn't matter how you got to where you are. Every single individual I've ever heard of has the same problem. Okay, you all got to where you all are right where you are, right here, right now. You all followed a variety of paths to get to where you are, and that cannot be changed. Okay, you can certainly go back and repair damage and what have you, or alter the path you're on. okay, that you're currently on. But you cannot alter the fact that you've already gone through that and come to this point. So we take a look at that first and foremost. Now, you desire your finances to change. Here's a novel thought, and I've yet to listen to one so-called financial advisor tell you this. Okay, if you're tight on finances and you're striving to get your account to climb, here is the best advice I can give you, and it's the same advice I give me, and the same advice, by the way, that I personally work with. You know, but here's the kicker to it. You desire your financial state to change. Stop spending more money than what you're generating. Okay. If you do that, your bank account will start to climb. It's that simple. Okay. If you're looking for an easy fix, the odds are it's not going to work well. Okay. Now, there are investments you can do, and I'm not going to talk to you about investments as to which mutual fund you should look at. Strictly speaking, when you're looking at economic boosting, okay, I've only made two investments in my entire life that paid off where I actually had more money. Okay, one was accidental in all fairness, but the other one is with a GIC, guaranteed income certificate. But if you desire your finances to change, okay, stop spending more than what you're earning. Stop giving your money to people that are not utilizing it properly. Okay, like I'm all for charity. Do not get me wrong. Okay, and I will help people as much as I can. But check the charity you're giving to. Okay, absolutely. Honestly, Philip, no. But then again, I never knew about them, so that might explain that. Presumably, municipal bonds are essentially the same as a GIC, just on a more local schedule. So I'm going to ask you a real blunt question because I got no problem with asking. But where would you even find municipal bonds? Oh, okay. But GICs are working for me, and this is great from my standpoint. But if you're looking at donating to a charity, first questions first, and you don't have to answer me. Whatever charity you're thinking of giving to, you desire your money to go to a useful cause. Check and see how much of your charitable donation is going to the charity. I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, if it is anything less than 100% of your money going to that charity, then you're giving to the wrong charity. Okay. In my opinion, whether that's a charity, a nonprofit organization, which is right there. Oh, we're not going to make profit. Brilliant idea to go into business with. Okay. If you're going into it, you're giving to a church, ask yourself this. If the church is actually taking care of the sick and the homeless, why do we got so many on the street? Well, Philip, in a nutshell, if you, like so many other people, give them money, they don't have to spend their money on their stuff. It's that simple. Okay. But, that's the silly part about it. Now, the question I always look at is okay, they ask you for money. Do you give it to them? And if that's the case, if you are giving it to them, have they got a track record whereby they're actually making something happen? Honestly, I doubt it, but what the heck? I heard of one, yeah, and that's very much the case, Shadow. Hence why I won't give money to a charity. I am in the process of setting one up, but rest assured, okay, Rest assured, when I put the charity together, quite seriously, 100% of whatever money comes in will go to the people that require it. And I'm not talking about turning it over to people on the street that are sitting there going, "Oh, give me money." Okay, come on, you can give me money. You've got money, give it to me. Ain't gonna happen. I'm going to be targeting, or more to the point, I already am targeting the what I call the working poor. And I think that's actually the claim. I think that's actually the title most people use. Okay. But if you're giving to a charity, make certain that 100% of that money is going to the charity. If not, you're helping people far more if you're going to give. I still believe wholeheartedly in the concept that the church actually voiced well, where 10%, but in my eyes, it's 10% of your net profit, meaning make certain that when money comes in, okay, that you take care of your own responsibilities, your own requirements first. Local animal shelters are, but again, Jack, the local animal shelters and the food banks, I will donate to, but I don't donate money. I donate food. Okay, that way, you know, that way when I do that, okay, I make certain that 100% of what I'm dealing with goes to the food, goes towards food. Okay. Now, the reality is there's a lot of ways of doing it, but the fundamental base of turning economics around is this. And you're going to love this one. Now, the guy, and yes, this little article that I'm working off of is going in the November newsletter, which, by the way, is still and will remain free to receive. Whether you get it by hard copy anywhere in the world or by email, doesn't matter. Okay. But I took a look at this and was looking at the whole idea of economics. How do you turn it around? Well, let's take a look at inflation. Okay. Here's a real simple thing that all of us know about. Okay, except the people on the street and the real low income people that are fighting tooth and nail to survive in the first place. How you doing there, football? Glad you could join us. They don't notice with inflation. All they notice is they're still struggling to survive. Okay. Now I hear people complain all the time. Okay, about, well, people are living off the government. They're living off government subsidy, off social assistance, off food stamps, right? And the reality of it is, if you're trying to survive, that's just the way it has to be. Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. And by the way, just to let you know, my lunch today consisted of approximately a pound of bacon and a couple of pieces of raisin toast and honey. Okay. Simply because I had to get something into my system, and well, as we all know, bacon is definitely the right move. But, you know, when we're looking at inflation, and governments and individual companies around the world have used this tool. Okay. But they do it, the governments do it in small sections or in, a sector or an industry or something. But here's the kicker to stopping inflation cold. Okay. Does anybody out there, any one of you that's in the chat room or listening in, because I'm going to give you the answer in about 30 seconds here. Do any of you have any idea how simple, as far as the concept goes, it would be to stop inflation cold? We would bring it to an inflation level of 0%. Anybody got any idea? Okay, because like I said, I'm much more interested in effective tools in the here and now. Kind of an important factor from my standpoint, because waiting again for things to change isn't going to help a lot. We know this. Absolutely, yeah. I do agree with you there, Philip, that people require a purpose. They really do. If you don't have a purpose, okay, if people don't have a purpose, you get lost, you get depressed. These are just simple symptoms. You get depressed, you get lethargic, you lose the will to function. Now, Donna, that's an excellent idea. Donna suggested, yeah, if those rich people share the wealth, and ultimately this is correct, that would help deal with it, but it won't do a thing to inflation. Now, here's the kicker. And like I said, governments have done it around the world. They do it with small sections of people, they do it with an industry, they freeze it cold. Some companies will go, okay, we're freezing prices for X number of months or for X number of weeks. Here's the kicker. If any government were to step up to the plate and go, okay, across the board, from the lowest individual, from the smallest company, all the way up to the multinationals, okay, and the government, freeze taxes and or freeze wages and prices. Instantly, your rate of inflation becomes zero. Right there. Okay. Does that make sense? Not is it easy, but does it make sense? Because I will tell you, turning things around. What do we got here? I absolutely agree. Philip, you're saying I know people who the government pays off to pacify, but they aren't living. You know, People do desire to have a purpose. You know, you know, if that were happening, but I'm going to give you the four pieces that stop that from happening. And these apply to most people. One or more of these apply to most of the people I've ever talked to. Okay. And when I'm talking people, I'm not just talking about people on Earth. Well, Jack, forgiving debt is an option, but here's the problem. Okay, at least in my opinion. Forgiving debt will help the individual, won't do a thing for the inflation. But here's the kicker. Okay, and I'm just going to use the term you as in the generic you. You went into debt with the honest intention of paying it back. The company that you went into debt with took on that debt, permitted you to get into debt, not a good idea, with the honest belief you were going to pay it back if you are forgiven that debt. Yeah, it's great for you personally, but the sad part is the company that you went into debt with loses the money. Okay. Now, this is just my personal opinion. However, this being said, okay, there are ways to deal with that. And this is one of the things I have, even though I'm not a financial advisor, this is one of the things I have helped people deal with. Okay. But the, you know, hey, Forrest Louie, how you doing? Glad you could join us. What do we got here? I cannot see that. Okay, I'll wait for that to happen. But, if we take a look at that side of it, the four things that I have found across the globe that hinder this kind of maneuver. Um, frankly, Jack, money wasn't invented with the intention of debt. Okay, it's just as far as I can tell. Okay, money itself came into existence because it was cheap. It was easier to move a $10 bill than a cow. Well, thank consolation there, Philip. And from what I've seen of the education, they're not really getting deprived of much. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, now here's the kicker. The four primary things to start with, and I'm sure there's more, that have absolutely created a problem is around the world. This is not one country, it is not one society. This seems to apply to every section of the world. Okay. Forrest is just saying, good to be here. I'm playing Hearthstone and listening. Hey, bonus, I multitask all the time. That's just normal. Um, Honestly, Jack, and hear this one out. The monetary system today doesn't require debt. It requires an adjustment in human thinking. How you doing there, Tails? Glad you could join us. The four primary things that came to the top of my head this morning were humanity's greed. That's what causes debt. Part of what causes debt. Greed, humanity's desire for instant gratification, their now laziness, which is coupled in that instant gratification thing, and their sense of entitlement. Now, this applies to people. I've met people way up on the top of the financial totem pole, all the way down to the street. Okay. And they're all sharing this same thing, the same similar thing. No doubt there, Philip. But when we talk about stupid, and I know people say, oh, you can't call people stupid, it'll offend them. If they're that stupid, it won't offend them. They won't recognize it. But, here's the kicker. What have we got? Going back up to what Philip said. Oh, Tails, I agree. That is absolutely frightening. I know people that graduated that have never learned to count, never mind write. The neat part is capitalism boils down to buying something for less and selling for more. If you're buying more than what you can afford, this is because you're trying to jump the gun. And that is where your hiccup comes in. Okay. Now, those four qualities, I will be going over each of those over the next several months. One of the things I've been doing with the newsletter is figuring out what what regular topics I was going to be carrying in it as the newsletter grows to that of a magazine. Okay. Now, when we take a look at any one of those four things, okay, every one of I know it's not set up that way. But the moment people start realizing, the thing is, Jack, the system was set up in order to keep people in debt. The whole communication system is set up to keep you living in fear. That is what we have to turn around. Okay. Nina, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So, since the setup is done that way, what are we looking at here? Oh, there we are. Oh, well, Derek, I could ask why you're in a bad mood, but there are all kinds of things you can do about that. And don't get me wrong, I've had my bad moods and I get them regularly. Okay. But this is going to take a lot of work. Now, what I've done myself, okay, is I turned around and said, okay, I desire my finances to climb. I desire my weight to drop. Okay. Well, finances climb, your savings climbing and your weight dropping is done essentially the same way. Okay. You desire your savings to climb, spend less than you're bringing in. It's that simple. If you're looking to invest in something that guarantees you'll make money, that is not a gamble. Now, the only investment I know of that does that is a GIC. Talk to your bank about the ins and outs. Okay. Hey, bonus there, Jack. Now, here's a neat little thing. Okay, where it comes to that to this issue, you're on day 4. Average time, and this is based on research I've done. Well, research. This is based on over 100,000 clients that I've dealt with over the years regarding quitting cigarettes, quitting other habits. Okay, the average length of time to break a habit or form a habit is 21 days. You're on day 4, you're already on the way. Just keep that in mind. If you find it easier, take a calendar and check off each day that you go without a cigarette. Okay. The further down the road you get, the easier you're going to find it. Well, here's the thing, Derek. I don't argue the point that the people in Finland do what the government says no matter what. The fact is, and I do call this a fact, every one of you, everybody around the world has free will. You have free choice. Now, yes, government legislation can make that very difficult and you may be forced into it if that's the way legislation is put in. If the legislation doesn't say you must do this, then you've got the choice whether you do. Okay, where are we here? Going back up just a fraction. Black Dragon, what did you say? I do appreciate that, Jack. One day at a time, you'll pull it off. Okay, there is no doubt. Now, 2 years ago, I looked at these things called weight loss. I call them weight loss gimmicks. I even went so far because I did not like the weight I was at. So I went so far as to buy one of these little weight loss gimmicks that was supposed to accelerate my weight loss. Well, it would have worked beautifully. I don't recall what it was called. I do recall 4 days of taking this pill they said would help. I had a major heart attack. Now, I don't know, something told me right there, yep, I could have lost weight that way. Okay, but instead I took the bottle and nope, that's in the garbage. 2 years later, here I am, 50 pounds lighter. I don't have a whole pile of loose skin hanging around because dropping a pound and a half to 2 pounds a month, okay, at the most, has enabled my skin to resize itself. Okay, my leg doesn't hurt as much. Oddly enough, as I've changed my eating habits a little, not only have I absolutely, Jack. Jack goes, best weight loss. Back away from the table. Absolutely. There are a whole pile of tricks I can give you on that one. And no, I am not a professional dietitian. I am not trained in the medical field. Matter of fact, I defy the medical field most of the time. You know, Philip, have I replaced which with I'm not sure what them is. But clarify what them is, and I should be able to help you there. And football, what pray tell is fen? I'm guessing it's an herb. For me, it boiled down to this. I cut back on the amount I was eating and moved a little more than what I was. Okay. And I am happy to report that since it was brought up to me, just reminding me a couple of days, about a week ago or so, yes, I have gone back to working with the weights. Okay. Yeah. Yo, so when we're looking at starting over, take a look at where you're standing. I did try weight loss pills. What I replaced them with was better eating, some interesting herbs or and foods that people that had successfully turned their health around, not doctors, but laymen that had successfully turned their health around. I talked to them, okay, and they're the ones that guided me, not the so-called trained professionals. And absolutely, am I willing to pass this information on? You bet. But I am now down as of 2 days ago. Actually, this morning I'm just shy of 90 and just shy of 192. So I'm on my way down again right before Thanksgiving. That neat thing called turkey dinner. Not a nice thing for the waistline. Well, it helped build it. Okay, I was down at just over 191. I am going to hit that 180. Not in all likelihood before the end of this year, because mind you, it's possible. If I'm dropping 6 pounds, that's 18 pounds. I may just be able to drop I may just be able to break that 180 before the end of this year. Okay. Oh, that's a great idea. Derek's going, Donald Trump is live now and he's supposed to speak on aliens tonight. Well, he's more than welcome to it. The thing I've come to, the way I look at it is this: if we're starting over in everybody's life, start where you are right this second. Okay. Never mind how you got to this point. Economics turns around by starting in your own home. If you desire your income to climb, stop spending more than what's coming in. Yes, I know with some of you that is going to be almost impossible at this point, but it's something to work towards. Now, don't forget, if you're in a financial nosedive, it's going to take effort to slow that drop and pull back up. Okay, this is just the reality of it. What do we got? What do we got here? You know, yeah, myself. What what do we got? See, the neat part is what I found worked for, and there's two things I found work for anxiety. For more to the point, for depression. The best one I ever found to help with depression is find the fastest dance-paced music you can find, crank it as high as socially acceptable, and let it run in the background. Okay, this will help. What do we got? You know, that whole thing with the music it will break depression. Okay. I will tell you, those of you that think alcohol helps with depression or cigarettes do, doesn't work that way. I know alcohol from personal experience, and cigarettes, I'll just take the number of people I've talked to. What do we got? What do we got here? Um, the neat part about it is I watch a lot, like I have touched in on a number of people. But if you desire your weight to drop, don't put as much food in as you put out. And by the way, here's another kicker for you where it comes to resetting your sleep. From what I gather, and again, I am no sleep specialist. So what I'm talking about, these are tools I personally use, and do your own research. But my understanding where it comes to sleep is to an hour of sleep before midnight seems to be almost as restful as as 2 hours after midnight. So with that in mind, set a time to get up. Don't worry about the time you're going to bed, quite frankly. Set a time to get up in the morning. Okay. If you have to go back to sleep for back to bed for a little bit, go right ahead. Absolutely. Yeah. Donna's just adding here. Yeah, dancing helps with weight loss and depression as well. Absolutely agree with you. My only problem with dancing is I put weight on my right leg too much. Right. And I mean, try and run 3 steps is too much. Okay, my leg pops out of joint and I hit the floor. And then I get to do that with that limp around on the floor thing. Not a lot of fun. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, so there are ways, and movement is definitely one of the key factors here. Yeah, that's terrible, Derek. That really is. Derek just goes, Keith does the alien crypt walk like no other. Absolutely. For some people, that works like a charm. And again, if your metabolism does it, it handles it. If you're looking to drop weight, okay, stop eating a number of hours before you go to bed. Okay, if you're looking to put a little on because you're underweight, and I don't mean what the doctors say, because get this, according to the doctors, at my height, I should be about 145 to 150 pounds. Now, right now, I'm 190. Okay, well, 191. But can you picture me being another 45, 50 pounds lighter? Can you picture how wonderfully that would look? Yeah, Derek just goes 3 hours before sleep, don't eat. Absolutely. Well, that was what I was thinking. My dad told me, he literally told me before he died, okay, to aim and get back to 180 and stay put. So that's where I'm going. Okay. I know I've got a lot more bone density than most. You know, but when we're starting over, the fundamental is this. You desire to drop weight. First and foremost, quit trying to lose it. Losing weight, inevitably, people take a look at it. You know, inevitably, people take a look at weight and loss and go, oh, I lost something. Now I instinctively have to go find it again. Well, the problem with weight is that it seems to come back with company. Okay, so the first thing you do is go, I desire to drop or discard weight to whatever level you're aiming for. Okay, stay focused. If you are dropping a pound to a pound and a half a week, yes, and from my standpoint, you seem to be dropping at a functional level. Because let's face it, you didn't gain the weight overnight in all likelihood. You know, some people, and again, some people have this thing where it comes to food that, like in my case, if I stop eating for 3 hours, my system starts to go into a mess. But I did find that if I eat more responsibly and more efficiently, okay, okay, Black Dragon, if you're aiming to gain weight, and again, I am no nutritionist. Okay, I am no nutritionist, but I do know this. If you eat later at night, or more to the point, closer to the time you crawl into bed, you won't have time to burn it off. Okay, so this is why I say, and again, eat responsibly. Talk to a nutritionist about an effective way. Don't worry about what they tell you, in my opinion, as far as what your ideal weight is. Okay, you'll know if you're feeling overweight or not. I used to have a basketball, for a belly. Okay, I don't anymore, and I'll tell you, I don't miss it. Okay, As a matter of fact, I found out the other day that I may have to go down in pant size again, which I'm not complaining about. Okay. But when we look at the fundamentals, it boils down to mathematics. If you desire to grow your savings account, spend less than what you're making. Okay, than what you're bringing in. If you feel you've got too much money in your possession, give me a dingle. I'll give you my bank account, or you can just send it to me on email. On e-transfer or via PayPal. I'm quite willing to accept any money people want to hand me. I'm just not stupid enough to turn it down. You know, Gordana's going, keep waiting, keep moving is my motto. And absolutely, as long as you're moving, as long as you're healthy, it doesn't matter. You guys are making me feel real short here. Philip's standing here at 6'2", and Derek is at 6'5". You know, that's terrible. Me, I'm somewhere between 5'7" and 5'8". But I've got about 40 pounds of extra bone. This was identified by the doctors during an x-ray. What do we got? I've got to ask there. Jack, you've asked, can I join up for that also? Got to ask what it is you're asking to join up for, because the odds are the answer is yes. Well, I appreciate that, Derek. But no, I'm measuring. The last time I checked my height, I was at 5'8". When I graduated, when I first got my license when I was 18, I was actually 5'10" and a half. But I have shrunk a drastic amount. Caffeine, how you doing? Glad you could join us. But when we're looking at the fundamental changes, fundamentally it's simple. You desire the economy to grow. Okay, and this sounds really wonderful. Okay, you want your local economy to grow. Okay, turn back to your local brand, to your local merchants. I was at Wings today, which I spend too much money at. I know this. But I don't buy drugs, I don't buy alcohol. So when I was at the restaurant today, and I ended up overhearing somebody that is making homemade pierogies for the same price I can buy them in the store. Now, she's local, making them at home. Who do you think I'm going to buy from? And once, like, I'm going to test her pierogies out. But who do you think I'm going to buy from now? The store that brings them in, and the money goes back to some major corporation in some other part of the world? Or am I going to turn and buy local? Okay, you desire your economy in your local area to change. Invest your money in the local market. It's that simple. Caffeine, that is very true. But the reality of it is that most humans stay on Earth. And this is the one we got to worry about. Okay, but you are correct. Different different planets do generate different heights and different weights and bone densities. And I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Philip. You know, I look at the reality of it and it really boils down to economics. If I can buy local, now granted, I don't leave my house much, so I don't go to the farmers markets because, well, frankly, that requires leaving the house. But if I can find people that'll ship it here, I'm quite happy about it. But again, this is just, you got to remember, when I'm looking at whether I'm leaving the house, it's because I became reclusive in an effort to stop stressing myself out. Okay, but it's like what we've got in my apartment. Okay, we've got what we call lobby shopping. People will take food that they don't want. God knows why. I stockpile mine. But people will take food they don't desire and leave it in the hallway and leave it in the front lobby or stuff they no longer have a use for. The fact of the matter is, we go back to this exchange thing. Now, the North American Indians had this neat little thing called a potluck centuries back where you'd give gifts, whatever you felt was good. If the person didn't like it, they'd still be appreciative of it, but they'd turn around and pass it on to somebody else at the next potluck. Yeah, that's pretty much where I ended up doing things. I couldn't deal with the amount of hypocrisy that I was bearing witness to. One of the things I am doing my level best with regards to this newsletter now is to focus on the things that we as equals can do, because there's not a one of you in a different standpoint than anybody else. You're all right here, right now, and every one of you, I'm absolutely certain, has a goal, has a dream that you would like to see attained. And I'm telling you, though you may not attain it in the time frame originally designed, there is no question that it is still, in all likelihood, attainable. But you got to start focusing on what you can do, not what you can't. Okay. Now, I will tell you, there's a lot of things I'll recommend you don't try, but I will tell you most things are possible, including I know of one individual that went skydiving, both parachutes failed. He jumped at 10,000, both parachutes failed, and he survived. He landed quite safely and walked away. So it is possible. I don't recommend gambling on it. In all fairness, I don't recommend gambling. But if we're going to change this world, get this. Take a city of 100,000 people, and let's just give you a simple number. Let's say 10,000 people work directly for the government, either in government offices or as government liaisons. We put 1,000 people, put 10,000 people working for the government in a city of 100,000 people. Now, yes, they make the laws, but the reality is there's 90,000 others that if you work together, if you get along and accept people, and accept people as they are. And this does not mean let people walk on you. You start treating people as you desire to be treated. And all of a sudden, we have 90,000 people going, we're no longer going to pollute. We're no longer going to throw garbage on the ground. Now, yes, in a, where are we here? I'm going to just bounce back here and take a look to make sure I didn't miss something. Oh, some people can. They're black. I used to have them. I used to burn more. Like I eat 3 times what other people ate, and still never gain weight. At this point, I'm not as active as I used to be. You know, Philip goes, I can get over. Yeah, there we go. Caffeine. You've asked, do you know about your um? I believe that's a typo. I presume that's supposed to be reincarnation goal. And correct me if I'm wrong there. Let's see here. Yeah, Kevin. I take it that's my reincarnation goal that you're talking about there, caffeine. I'm just gonna wait for a response on that before I give you an answer. Now, Philip, what pray tell is AMS? Where do we got here? Gordona, the whole system is saying the old system is collapsing. Old energies are acting up and big changes are coming. Absolutely. And this is where the co-creation comes in. We could look at everything falling apart. Absolutely. Okay. Answer your question in just half a second, caffeine. Um, this is why I'm talking about changing it now. Okay. By focusing on co-creating a better world for virtually everybody. This means bring people into alignment where we stop doing the self-destructive thing, where we stop as individuals throwing garbage on the ground, okay, or throwing food out. You know, if you've got food that you no longer have use for and it's not bad, who cares if you take it out to somebody living on the street? Is there really anything wrong with that? You're not condoning them living on the street. What you're doing is going, I've got food I'm not going to use. I'm going to give it to somebody that may well use it. Whether they appreciate it or not, you can't do much with. But if they don't appreciate it, don't give it to them. Mm, okay. Now, caffeine. Yes, I know exactly what my reincarnation goal is. Okay, I've been at this for literally thousands of years, and I run into the same problem time and time again. And no, I'm not going to pin down specific lifetimes for you guys. I've documented, I think, 18, maybe 20 past lives. And I'm just talking about humans. Okay. But for several thousand years, I have returned here to pass the same message. Be nice to each other. Follow the three karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, people have asked me, how do you know what you know? Well, I remember it. Am I going to prove it to anybody? Not a snowball's prayer. Okay, I leave other people to identify what or who they think I am, where and what lifetime they remember me from. Now, if somebody spots one that they remember me from, okay, and they point and they can identify things that I can corroborate, I absolutely will. Okay, but some of my past lives are, shall we say, a bit egocentric if you look at them. World, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Where are we? World Bigfoot. Here we are. This is the link to World Bigfoot stream. So absolutely drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of the thing. Okay. Now, when we look at it, okay, my reincarnation goal, and this is my sole purpose from way back from before what human can wrap their brain around, it seems, is to simply remind you that working together, not only remind you but guide you in so that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I'm not talking just humans. I'm talking every race I deal with, every species I deal with. And yes, that includes the birds, the bees, the trees, okay, all of it. Whether we are dealing with corporeal or non corporeal, it doesn't matter. Now, my limit is in the third dimension. Okay, I am here for the same purpose you are, to remember who and what I am and what I am capable of. Okay, that is literally my sole purpose. And yes, I have absolutely been neglecting it. Oh, okay, that's good. I have absolutely been neglecting it. I hid from this world for 55 years. World, that is fantastic. 10th anniversary of your channel. That is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. And we could go down really bizarre concept on this. When you borrow money, you are making a contract to return said amount of money in whatever time. Make certain you put every effort into returning that debt. World, that is absolutely mind-boggling. I don't know what my total views are at this point. I'm not even certain I know how to find out. But let's see if I can do that just because I'm curious. I go to YouTube, go to your channel, which is mine. Hey, don't do that. And we go to customize channel, go to my dashboard. And what do I got here? I'm sitting not bad on that end. There we are, channel analytics. Yeah, nowhere near what you've got. I don't even know, and I'm not going to look any further here. But I do know I'm quite content with the way things are sitting right now. I just don't have the information available, or more to the point, don't know exactly where to track it down. Research doesn't help. Okay, well, that doesn't do me any good, so I'm going to quit looking down there. And we'll shut those down and get back to the business at hand. Caffeine, I'm going to pop a bubble here, and you can disagree, and that's okay. In what I understand of the whole 9 yards, if you're physically here in the third dimension, I hate to tell you this, your dominant memories may be of another time, but everything I've ever seen and that has shown up and is visible, is recordable in third dimension, is third dimensional. Now, you may well be vibrating at a higher rate and therefore appear invisible half the time or more. But fourth dimensional energy cannot exist in third dimensional space or vice versa. And this is why and you don't have to agree with me. I'm not even going any further down that road. Okay, yeah. World goes, it's all relative. I live in a city with a population of 1 million. So that's not bad at all. You know, the nice part about it, from my standpoint is this, that, I look at it this way. Because I'm not about to really fight the issue of multiple different outlooks. Okay, everybody is absolutely entitled to their own view. But I had to set down some pretty solid ground rules in order to be able to have any sort of a functional discussion. Okay. I have no idea what AT&T is. I take it AT&T is a provider of sorts. But no, the reality from my standpoint is people's drive to be different is what is creating a lot of the segregation in this world. Okay. Hey, did I miss somebody coming in here? I'm thinking I did. I'm just going back up. Yep, I did. You know, the way I look, oh, there we go. AT&T is the biggest cell phone internet provider in America and TV. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I figure the way I look at it, whether other people are making more money than me doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. But we've got to realize that people are that one of the biggest things And this is why in November, I've got this overall view of the baseline of economics. I have no idea, Derek. You get the fun of checking that one out. You know, from my standpoint, like in December, I'm going to be dealing with greed, individually with greed in December, um, instant gratification in January, laziness in February, and the sense of entitlement in March. Now, I will be adding to that as I go along, but this is just staying on one topic, one aspect of it. Okay, but it's time we turn this around, but that's got to be done on an individual base. Yeah, Black Dragon, the one natural food that I find I cannot eat, okay, is actual farm fresh milk because I find it way too rich for me. Okay, my system doesn't handle it well. Creator, caffeine. In a nutshell, you couldn't be further off. You really couldn't be, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But we are going to get off that particular line of thinking because no, the creator I know of isn't stuck to the dimensional levels that you're thinking. That is very limited thinking on your part. But in order to stay focused on things, there has to be ground rules. And this is why I say, much as many people, you know, much as many people will debate which way things go, okay, and what is right, whether governments are a good thing. I will tell you this. A government is a necessary commodity but it's got to be an equal opportunity government, one that deals with all people, itself included. Okay, itself included, have to be dealt with equally. Okay, but a government is necessary to lay down guidelines that everybody adheres to. It would be nice if the government would adhere to their own guidelines, but apparently this is a problem that can be corrected. The governmental setup is right. It's the people in it that are not utilizing it effectively. Okay, so what I look at is this. Every single individual, every one of you is equally important. Okay, every one of you is absolutely entitled to have, to stay and to believe what you will. There's no question there. Well, here's the thing, Derek. That may be the case, but how about if we look at the other possibility? You know, where are we? Donna put something. Oh, absolutely, Donna. Most of the food, actually, from what I understand, store like canned food, all has something that added to it that not only won't help fill you, but will also make you hungry. Okay, we could talk for hours about the discrepancies, but here's the kicker. You desire things to change. It starts at home. It starts with your own outlook. Okay, it starts with your own efforts. And there's not a one of you that falls into a different category, myself included. And this is why I say, when I was asked, when Eclipse asked what my sole purpose is, it is to lead you, to guide you. Now, here's the kicker to it. I'm not perfect. I'd have to double check that. But the important factor of this whole thing is this. You desire society to change. The political industry and the political system was laid out effectively, as was the criminal system in the first place. The legal system, that's a whole different ballgame. Okay. Your educational system was absolutely laid out in a functional fashion. But the people that are in it right now, and by not going into it, you're also leaving that open for other people to carry the same training on. Now I've been in the political system. I did go to work as a member of a board of directors on a local park here. And yes, the corruption, even on the low end, is mind boggling. Did I ever buy into it myself? No. You know, there are a lot of things that we can look at, but the reality is take a look at what you're doing. Now, one of the biggest things that we have to look at, if you're starting with clean slate protocol, and yes, I did take that right out. I did hear that in Iron Man 3 first. Okay, when you do that, take every decision you've made up to this point, okay, and go, okay, they've all been made. Whether they were good or bad does not matter. You cannot undo them. Ultimately, Gordon, you are absolutely correct. The old system is going to do exactly what it's done every time. But we have the opportunity right here, right now, to start the ball rolling in the other direction. Okay. Ultimately, that is the important factor. Well, what do we got here? Forrest Louis is going slow cooked. What do we got? Yeah, slow cooked for 9.5 hours. Um, Makes keto brown sugar glaze on. Yeah, there's a whole pile of things that, there's a lot of different diets that can be used. Now, myself, I used to have a seafood diet. You know, you seafood, you eat food, you feel better. That worked great until I stopped moving. Okay, now we are at a point where we really have to look at this and go, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue down the path that society is currently living on? Okay, the same one that brought Rome to its knees, that killed the monarchies, that wiped out, that led to the wiping out of most of Europe. Well, no, wiping out a third of Europe with the Black Death. These were all things that people were actually doing consistently. Even in the early 19th century, people were going, "Oh, I've got more money than you, therefore I'm more important." This doesn't add up to jack, at least nothing serious. Okay, now that said, I call myself a spiritual guide. Okay, do I go up into a church and stand on the pulpit and bang on it and say, you're all going to die, you're all going to hell? I'm telling you, drop in on hell. When you die, have a drop in. Okay, their hot tubs in my eyes are way too hot, but when they get down to deep muscle massage, boy, these guys have it down to a fine art. What have we got here? That I absolutely agree with, Donna. The less toxin you put in your system, the better off you are. That's terrible, Derek. That really is. Mhm. Yeah, that's what you get for the munchkins. Nicely done. You know, the nice little part of it When we look at society, we've got a choice, and you really do. You can continue listening to people telling you your life sucks, you're going to hell no matter what you did. Oh, you were born, therefore you were born of sin. Sorry, only way from my understanding that you can actually sin is to go against your own guidelines, your own word, providing you're not breaking karmic law in the first place. Karmic law being be true to yourself first, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. Okay, you follow those three laws, you're not going to sin. Okay, and rest assured, the priest standing at the front of the pulpit, whether it's no matter what what the religion, the guy standing at the front of the pulpit going, "You're going to burn in hell. Don't hold your breath." Of course, if you're putting your breath in your head underwater, it might be an idea to hold your breath. Joe, that is absolutely fantastic. You would not believe the number of people that, yes, I've spoken very out and very directly about my not going back. However, I can't count the number of people I have told, look, if you find a sense of brotherhood there, a sense of support there, then absolutely go back to church. It does have a purpose. Okay. So, absolutely, Joe, do enjoy yourself. Where are we here? Getting the confession. Yeah. He goes, the main, Joe's just saying, the main purpose for me is getting the confession and get rid of a lot of stress off my soul. Absolutely. And the reality is, if that is working for you, absolutely go and do it. Very important. I got told one day there, Philip, I had a wonderful turn with it. Okay. I turned around and this guy, this very, very staunch, he was Roman Catholic, and he caught me on a bad day. We got talking and I mentioned that I believe in tarot. And he looks at me and he goes, "There's a place in hell for people like you." I never even blinked. I looked at him and I says, "Yep, they call it the throne." Well, I'll tell you, he turned white and ran away, which I didn't have a problem with. But no, from my standpoint, boils down to this. You want to go to hell, you want to go to heaven, want to take a nap in a coffin, have a happy. Okay. While you're here on earth, if you're in a physical body, okay, the odds are that you're in a human body. Now, yes, some of you are not human. I agree. But you still, if you're in a physical body here, if you can physically interact with people, hate to tell you this, but you're in the third dimension. Now, there are some people that vibrate so fast you can't see them. You know, And the nice little part about it, if you've ever gone to the mall and you've watched somebody walk through the mall like this, apparently with nobody there, odds are what's happening is that they are seeing other people there. Okay. And they're simply walking around them. I'm just looking at this forest. Looks like you have an absolute like you really enjoy your cooking. Absolutely, Jack. There are so many, and this is the thing. This is why when people ask me a question, okay, whoop, where are we here? You know, this is the thing. When people ask me a question, I may not give you the answer that you desire to hear, but you can bet your bottom dollar I will give you an honest answer. It may be an honest answer, as in I'm not telling you. Yeah, like, the reason I never got into cooking there, Forrest, is because I've got no functional sense of time, no sense of space, and no taste buds. The kitchen is not my friend. Okay, that's terrible, Gordana. Gordana goes, 3D means I am wider than my height. Yeah, I used to feel like that, but not quite. See, the closest thing to home cooking I do, really, is I make my own tomato sauce by buying Roman tomatoes. Probably not the best, but they fit nicely. And I cook them along with mushrooms, celery, onions, and a few other things, usually green pepper or red pepper. I cook it in a slow cooker, mix it and blend it all together, and now we have tomato sauce, of course, with a little bit of spice as well. But when we talk about the fundamentals of change, it boils down to making one decision and only one. That first decision is you turn around, okay, and you go, I am not content with X, and you start making changes. Okay, you start making changes, alter what you are doing. Now, you guys know if you look at my past videos, I used to have a whole stack of boxes here. I didn't like them there. They're gone. Okay, I now have, where is it? This little thing here, this little sheet here has a list of the different topics I'm working on. Now, today we are working on the fundamentals. Tomorrow I'm not dealing with a thing because tomorrow's my gaming day. And sorry, guys, and I'm sure world understands this one. Ultimately, Philip, pretty much. You know, I kind of look at it going, well, if it's not moving, then it's probably in a good mood, in a good starting point. If it's black, I probably cooked it too long. Or if it's mushy, and I don't like mushy. Unfortunately, the computer is not set. Is not really set where I can do it. But what is today? Today's Tuesday. I was supposed to be looking gaming today, I think, or is that no? Today's Wednesday. I was supposed to be working on gaming yesterday, but the reality is I ended up sleeping through the afternoon because of my interaction with the government. I get stressed out way too easily there. Okay. So, I mean, I do apologize from that standpoint, but you do bring up a point, and I know you'll get a kick out of this world. I turned around the game I run on Sunday. Okay. I turned around and made a Thieves Guild that the local constabulary is going to have one heck of a problem stopping because the Thieves Guild I've got is run by a sentient rat who guides all the rats in the sewers. That's the Thieves Guild. Okay, where are we here? Oh, world. Yeah, I was thinking of live streaming. I am going to be doing a lot more, and I've finally gotten things organized. I just had to get my head on straight. But no, I took the Thieves Guild, and it is simply rats. You know, which the guys don't know what they're up to yet, and what they're up against just yet. Dogface, how you doing? Glad you could join us. What have we got here? Oh, where are we? Yeah, I do appreciate the extra insight there, Forrest. I don't even know if we've got Roma plum tomatoes in the city here. I know we've got Roma. They were invented to crossbreed to meteor. Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah, I don't even know if we got them available. Ultimately, I mean, the biggest hold I do agree with you, Gordana. You know, buying locally, buying fresh from the farm absolutely is your best move. I have a hindrance, and you can call it an excuse, I don't care. Okay. I have a problem. Okay, I have a major problem with the idea of leaving the house. So going to local farms is a bit of a problem. Ton goes, at the next SOR meeting, we need to make our own food for sampling. You know, ultimately, that's very much the case. Oh, nice. I love it there, World. I really do. World's going in my campaign world, there's a were-rat with a goblin sidekick who live in the sewers and fight crime. Rat Man and Goblin. That was just bad. Okay. Of course, if you think about it, that world, I'm sure you remember back in the 80s when they had things like Superman and Superman, Fat Man, you know, there was Superman and Fat Man, and then we had the Green Gobbler. There were a lot of and of course, now who was it? Oh, the Flush. These were people that came up in I think it was in either the 80s it was either in the 80s or the late 70s. Oh, nice there, World. Yeah, I will. I've got to get some more of those dealt with. I've been working on the painting of them, but I get sidetracked. I get too many things on the go on occasion. One of the things I went out of my way to do, one of the things I managed to get done now, I have on for the list as far as the live stream goes. On the where are we? The 14th, we'll be dealing with spirit guides, and the 14th, of course, is this coming Saturday. Sorry, that's wrong. Did I do that again? Today is the 11th. Is today actually? No. Yes, today is the 11th. So that's the 11th, 12th. Yeah. The 13th, which is Friday, we'll be dealing with spirit guides. On the 14th, we're going to take a look at dream boards. On the 15th, we're going to look at the Watchers. Okay. And what exactly the Watchers are, how they combine. You know, then what what do we got? 15th. Nope, 15th is open. The 16th is the Watchers, and let's correct that before I screw something up. What did I do with my pen? Don't you just hate that? Got a pen handy, and what do you do with it? You just completely lose the thing. So I don't need that. On the 18th, what are we looking at? Gotta take a look at that. So, I am filling in ideas. I'm getting things laid out on the newsletter to make sure that it's got a static pattern to it. Because the reality is, the more organized you are in your life, the more smoothly things will run and the lower your stress level becomes. Joe, just adding in here, I was at church one time coming out of the bathroom, went through the hallway, women sitting crying. I wanted to oh, yeah, women sitting crying. I wanted to comfort her, but she was married. I've seen the husband and her before. Now here's the kicker. Comforting somebody, even if they're married, comforting someone with a kind word is exactly what church is supposed to be about. Even if they're married, it doesn't matter. As long as you're doing it in a respectful fashion, you don't have a problem there, Joe. You know, I mean, I'm looking at this and going, okay, we're on the right track. There's no question because I see a lot of the time the people, the people in this chat room. This is a microcosm of what we have to really focus on co-creating. Okay, it's time to take the negative past, everything that's been done that has led us to this point. It is time that we turn around and start guiding our politicians, our religious leaders, down the road that we desire to go down, not the one that they're telling us you got to go down, because if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell. Well, I will tell you this, hell does exist. I know, I've been there. Take my word for it or don't. Okay. And yeah, fire, hot. Fire, bad. If you don't want to get burnt, bad idea to go there. You will get burnt. But are you stuck there? No. Okay. When you figure that out, that's the neat part about why I can get away with telling you this. When you die, the whole system is designed so you forget that rule. And once you piece together, you've got control over whether you stay burning or you come out and you go and put your feet up in the lounge. That's up to you. Okay. And the only rule of thumb is if you're going down there to visit, you're not permitted to tell anybody down there that it's up to you. You can just decide that you can walk out of this. If you do that, the way the system is set up, your mind gets wiped blank and you get trapped in hell until you can figure it out again. Or in heaven, depending on how you look at it. But let me ask you this. What where we go? World goes, well, I'm going to head over to Danielle Diva's show at the top of the hour. She's doing a show about evil Carpathian cult. That ought to be entertaining. So John's going, so is it the 13th, 14th, 16th, 18th? Let us see here. The 13th, well, the 13th is the spirit guide. The 14th is dream boards. The 15th, which is Sunday, is an open topic. The 16th, we're going to look at watchers. The 17th, we're going to look at gaming. And the 18th, we're going to look at altering the path your life is on. Okay, so that you can reclaim power over your life effective immediately. Okay, I'm not into this idea of going, oh, wait till the end of the show. This is why I say, if you have a question, you know, if you have a question of any topic, doesn't matter to me what the topic is, put it in the chat room. I will be more than happy to answer it. Now I've been going through the back messages in my in YouTube, and I've been answering all of the comments. I'm now into the ones that were placed 2 years ago. Everything else is up to date. And you are absolutely right there, football. You can comfort with words at a distance. No fear, no touching. Physical contact is not necessary to bring solace to somebody. Okay. Philip just added, I comforted a lady crying in a nursing home, but I have no idea if she was married. Apparently, this was abnormal because the manager came up to me after to thank me. A pretty nurse visited me too. Bonus. You know, yeah, and Jacko, so yeah, if you want there to be a hell, it's going to be there. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, in a nutshell, Emmy. Okay, a baptism is not required. And I know this is going to go against everybody, a lot of people's teachings. First of all, a baptism cannot be done until you're of cognizant age. Okay. Secondly, you do not have to have a baptism in order to get into heaven. Heaven is it is a place you can go, absolutely. But no, the idea of a baptism was literally designed, and I know this is going to cause flack. Okay, it just so happens I remember when it was designed, and it was designed to give people of a similar belief structure a sense of unity. That was its primary purpose. Okay. And the fact that you got completely submerged in a lake, okay, in a freshwater lake, okay, the fact you got into that, and rest assured, they made sure it wasn't one of those neat little freshwater lakes with leeches, okay, but that was a way to find a sense of camaraderie, a sense of unity amongst the people, okay. The answer there, football, yes. There are bad animals in hell. There are bad plants in hell. There are bad elementals in hell. Bad being people that are going against karmic law. Karmic law says, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. It has nothing to do with who you are. Not a problem there, Emmy. The neat part is a lot of what we are talking about now. No, I have not read the Bible cover to cover. But if anybody wants to discuss that in detail and the discrepancies I've seen, that's no problem. I'm not doing it on this channel. Somebody wants to really pull it apart or have me pull it apart, find a channel that deals in that sort of thing. I'll be more than happy to go on and discuss it with them. Here's the thing, and I agree with you, Jack. When you come along, okay, when you become an omniscient God, jealousy is not there. You don't require worshipers. You don't get jealous. You don't get angry, and you sure don't get vengeful. Because where is the rationality in stepping on an ant? It's not going to make you feel any better. Philip's just letting us know here. St. Augustine invented baby hell, purgatory for unbaptized children. Pelagius disagreed with him. Pelagius was excommunicated. Oh, I don't hate you by any stretch. I've got my own outlook on the whole 9 yards. But that's why I said, will I discuss it with people in person? Certainly. Will I discuss it on this channel? Not a snowball's prayer. The thing is, I remember, not only do I remember 2,000 years ago, I remember 1,700 years ago. I remember, I think it was 700 years ago with the Black Death. And the memories I have nothing to do with reading up on it because, frankly, I hate research. And most of the research is misleading. The reality of it is, like when I look at the whole concept of, oh, the world's flat. No, guys, it isn't. Okay. The people that believe it's flat, that's fine. They're more than welcome to it. I like one person, they said, well, it can't be flat. Because if the world was flat, there wouldn't be anything on it because the cats would knock it all off. And then my own son turned around and he goes, why would they make Earth flat? Every other planet, every other religion says they're all round. So why make one that was flat? Like, where's the rationality? But when we're starting over, understand, I make no apologies for what I've said in the past. As a matter of fact, I used to get in trouble. It's like, you must apologize. I'd look at it and go, okay, please accept my most insincere apology to date. And Philip, that is just terrible. Philip goes, the world used to be flat, but guys had implants. Yeah, that is just terrible. But what we have to realize is we as a society have the choice. Are we going to continue following in the footsteps of fear, segregation, isolation, and like we did way back at the bottom of Mount Sinai and in Sodom and Gomorrah? Are we going to focus on debauchery? Or are we going to start looking at each other and going, we are all parts of something much greater than any of us? Are we going to continue down a negative path, or are you going to choose to say, okay, regardless of what I've done in the past, I am now moving forward. I am now building a world that I am much more content with. Okay, that's your choice. That is the same choice every single corporeal and non-corporeal is required to make. It's it's the only functional choice you have to make, because you do have free will and freedom of choice. What you do not have is freedom from consequence. And this is the thing we've got to come to terms with. Okay, but one thing that has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, at least to me, when you eliminate all the things that you're not content with in your life, okay, when you eliminate all of those things, all you're left with is a life that you're happy with. I remember the Great Flood. Okay, the people that said didn't happen. You do realize that Noah's Ark, or more to the point, an ark fitting the description of Noah's Ark, was found at the top of Mount Ararat, grown right into the stone. Now, I personally remember the flood. Okay, I remember the screaming, the shouting. I will tell you this: Noah's Ark was not the only floating device that was used. It was simply the only one that survived. Okay, and there's a lot more to that, but the reality of it is this: I could stay stuck on the past going, and I did for 55 years this lifetime. I was stuck in the past going, you people are walking down the same road that you've done several times in the past. Okay, and in only one of those instances did you wipe society out by an act of curiosity, an ill thought out act of curiosity. But it wasn't war. It was literally, oh, we're curious, we haven't tried this, why don't we knock it, and why don't we get all together and do this? Bad, 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 bad idea. Resulted in 10 billion dead overnight. Well, actually, in all honesty, it was only about 5 billion that died overnight. But over the course of the next year, we lost another almost 5 billion people due to disease, accident, nature. It became an absolutely bizarre road. Okay. Yeah, football goes, how did other people know or build floating devices? Well, they didn't so much know, they actually didn't, and nobody around that setup believed it at all. Okay. But what happened is, as the water rose, wagons were in existence, and wagons do float. Okay, so people got on the wagons or bits and pieces of roof that were floating, and tried to survive that way. Unfortunately, as we found out, I think it was World War II, there was a battleship that went down. And I think there were 750 soldiers or so that went into the water. But the shark infested waters wiped out all but a handful. But no, it really boiled down to there were other things that floated, and some people tried swimming. But I'll tell you, the screaming was just insane. Okay. The people that were yelling for help from the top of their houses, from clinging to the top of trees while the water continued to rise, was absolutely bizarre. Oh, absolutely, Forrest. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate your time. Now, what we're looking at this point is people across the globe are going. The world is going into a tailspin. Question: are you going to focus on the fact it's going into a tailspin, or are you going to start focusing on and relaying the information that we can turn this around? Okay. Thank you, football. Football is just informing us that yes, it was the USS Indianapolis that went into the drink. You know, but when we're looking at it, you know, there was horrendous damage. Mankind is doing this consistently. And the more that we focus on the negative things in life, the more we're going to draw them towards you. Now, I mean, we had two major problems there the other day. I mentioned them both briefly: the attack on the Gaza Strip and a 6.3 earthquake. Now, you'll notice the attack on the Gaza Strip, people chose who they were going to shoot, okay, who they were going to kill. The earthquake that hit, there was nobody running around going, tap, tap, tap. Excuse me, but did you vote for so and so? Close the door. Yeah, you voted. We're going to leave that alone. Or, excuse me, are you sleeping with somebody of the same sex as you? Or are you in favor of this law? The earthquake itself, nobody checked. Nobody at all. When the earthquake hit, it wiped out entire communities. And my heart goes out to the people left behind. Absolutely. You know, the thing, what do we got? Oh, you're more than welcome there, Amy. You know, the reality of it is, I've had to step out of the shadows. Well, I guess I didn't have to. I've avoided society for 55 years. And I finally got the message. It's time to get up. It's time to get up and say, hey, time to wake up, time to smell the coffee. And if you're following somebody, I know people that go, oh, this guy says he is Yeshua returned, or he's Jesus Christ returned. He lives up in the mountain behind a fenced yard, and he's got all kinds of guns. Go up there. I'm telling you, Yeshua does not require an armed encampment. You know, the reality is that if the church that you're going to, and there are some of them that do this, if they are taking care and reaching out to help the homeless, to help the hungry, then absolutely continue supporting them. If they are taking money and there's still a major problem with homelessness on your streets, you might be giving your money to the wrong person. And yes, I know I'm going to get flack for that. But that's why I say this is my opinion. Matter of fact, everything that comes out of my mouth is my opinion. Okay. Yes, I've got memories that date back literally centuries. Actually, a lot further than that. But it is literally up to you. And if you desire a copy of the newsletter I'm putting out, which is called Positive Perspectives, all I require is an email that states either an email address that yes, you'd like to receive it, or if you desire the hard copy, I don't care where you are on the planet. If you desire a hard copy, if they get mail service there, I'll ship it to you. Okay, and it will remain free of charge, because the whole 9 yards of it, as well as the charity that I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to work with, will be handled by my own administration costs. It will not be handled by somebody else footing the bill for it. Okay, and this is why I say one of the things that you will find in the newsletters, and for that matter, on my websites and on my Facebook and book page and what have you, is the different books I've written. Okay, And again, it boils down to this. I could do it for free, except I'd run out of money faster than I already am. Where are we here? Yeah, absolutely there, Philip. You know, I remember walking down the street one day and I ran into a priest. And I looked at him and I went, "Excuse me." He goes, "Yes, my son, how can I help you?" I said, "I'm just curious when you're going to start doing God's work." And the guy looks at me and got a really weird look on his face. He says, "Well, I'm a priest for such and such a church." I said, "Yeah, I kind of figured that by the outfit, but it doesn't answer the question." He goes, "I'm always doing God's work." I said, "Really?" I said, I'm down at the park where the troubled kids are, and I've never seen a one of your people down there." Right. "I've never seen a one down there." He says, "Well, we encourage them to come to church." I says, "Really? You tell the people that are not the same color as you can't come. If they're gay, they can't come. If they don't believe in exactly what you're teaching, they can't come. Where's the encouragement?" You know, and the guy looks at me and goes, "Well, I says, so we go back. When are you going to start doing God's work and taking care of the poor, taking care of the sick, taking care of the downtrodden, offering some semblance of uplifting, uplifting talk?" Now I'm looking at this, and Joe goes, "I don't really know what my church does with the money. All I know is every parisher that goes there to receive confession and communion, they give the church money to say thank you." And there's not a problem there, but it may be in your best interest, to ask what the church is actually spending the money on, given that they portray themselves, in all likelihood, that they're there to take care of the sick and the poor. If you've got people living on the street, the church is not living up to its claims. It's just black and white math. Okay. And I mean, the reality is, when we start looking at God, we're looking at somebody that literally tells you he loves all of his children, not just the ones that are this color or just the ones that are built like this. Okay. Just something to consider. Now, am I the best person on the planet? Absolutely not. I'm probably one of the more outspoken. I try to be politically, polite. I try to be polite. Politically correct, no, I gave up on that. But we have to look, it is imperative that we really start looking at this world and go, okay, where are we going from here? Okay. And by the way, just as another quick little note, I am making room in the newsletter, and understand it is free. So do I pay for it? No. But I am making room where if somebody's got an article they'd like to get printed, okay, providing it does not promote prejudice, greed, or this kind of negative behavior, I will look at putting it in. Phillips going, Casanova wrote about a church in Spain, famous for a statue of a busty woman. People traveled great distances to see the statue and gave money. Then an inquisitor priest took away the statue. You know, and the silly part there was, you take a look at that. Yes, it was a statue of a busty woman, but at that time, people were, they wanted a good-looking woman for themselves, but you weren't allowed to look at it. Okay, you know, there are cultures where you're not allowed to see it. They have to wear clothing that is baggy, that is loose fitting, so you can't see the form. And yet, the physical form is literally designed to attract a partner, or more to the point, attract a mate. It is done throughout all of creation. whether we're dealing with animal, plant, vegetable, people, birds, fish, doesn't matter. They all are designed to be colorful to promote their own appearance or their own prowess in order to draw a mate and thereby propagate a more successful society. Problem, we are getting told, oh, you have to be different. So now we have a society that looks at the world, you know, we have a society that looks at the world and goes, oh, we have 60 different genders. Bad news, I cannot see the functionality of having 60 different washrooms, which somebody sooner or later is going to go after. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. Okay, this is where we going to get to the point of segregation, to the point of stupidity. Oh, but I don't relate to that. Doesn't matter if you relate to it. Absolutely, Jack. In the actual nature of reproduction is woven straight into your DNA, straight into the attractive side of things in order to draw a compatible mate and thereby produce stronger offspring. The idea stronger, faster, smarter, whatever. In today's world, it has been diluted. Creativity, in my opinion, has collapsed. Okay, people are being taught using your imagination is a bad thing. Yeah, and this is where and this welcome to the first sign of unions. Okay, yes, we know that's a problem, but drop it and let it happen, and we'll leave the guy in place. This doesn't make sense to me, Philip. Okay, the reality is, yes, we do require finances. Finances do not make the world go around, by the way. We can safely say that's gravity and centrifugal force. Okay, but I still hold it's easier to drag a $10 bill around than it is to drag a cow. And besides that, if you don't feed a $10 bill for a week, it won't die on you. Um, I can work with that, Rebel. And Jack, I really can. Jack's going, I say 3 is fine. Gotta be open. Gotta be open sometimes. Bathrooms, with bathrooms, you have one male, one female, and one open. Okay, they did that when it came to, the idea of a bathroom where change tables could be put. Because there physically wasn't a functional room. But change tables, everybody can use it, whoever you are, works fine. But there's going to be a complaint there. And Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And guys, this is a link to Chad's archives. Absolutely drop in, give a listen. Sooner or later, Chad will hopefully do another one. But for the moment, give him a listen. He's got some really neat ideas. He had some great shows in the past. Go give it a listen. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. The information, yes, it's archived, but the reality is this: the information is still there. You're more than welcome there, Chad. That's just terrible. And Gordana goes, they don't have love seats in the bathroom. You can hold hands while pooping. The reality is, in my eyes, you're going in to do that. You don't need to be holding hands at that time. You might be able to get away with it. But the important factor is this: we've got to start looking for similarities. I'm pretty certain that virtually every human, given that they have 2 legs and 2 arms, put their pants on 2 legs at a time. Some of you are unfortunate and don't have the second leg. So we kind of work around it. Donna, you're absolutely correct. Donna goes, I find God is everywhere. Sometimes he comes to visit you. I found more and more. I found more more devils in the church than out of it. Yeah, but it does contain them. If you're focusing on ostracizing people or isolating them from you, this is not the act of a benevolent God. But with this in mind, guys, we're hitting the 2 hour. Well, we just hit the 2 hour mark. I do want to just say, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. If you'd like a copy of the free newsletter, all you gotta do is drop me a line with your email address or a physical address to mail it anywhere in the world for free. Okay. That said, I will be back again tomorrow, unless I happen to die or drop to sleep before that. But I will be back again. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.